It's almost like it sneaks up on you, right? That whole heart disease and stroke thing, still the biggest killers worldwide. It's kind of wild. But what really gets me is how often it's this silent threat. Like people have no clue how much danger they're in until it's practically too late. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? Is the whole cholesterol story really the whole story? What if we've been missing some really fundamental stuff? And here's a thought. Could nature actually have some powerful science-backed solutions for heart health that we've just totally overlooked?
Well, that's exactly what we're diving deep into today. And it's all for you. We're not interested in rehashing the same old stuff. Our goal is to dig up some of those less obvious things that can trigger heart problems, introduce you to some potentially groundbreaking solutions, and yet even explore some ancient herbal remedies that might be totally new to you when it comes to heart health. We're cutting through all the conflicting noise out there and getting right to what really matters for your cardiovascular well-being.
Absolutely. And to get there, we've been really digging into this information that kind of flips the script on the traditional view of heart health, looking past just cholesterol numbers and into these fascinating natural ways to support our hearts. So let's jump in. I mean, we always hear those warnings about heart attacks,
Right.
but here's a stat that stopped me in my tracks. 80% of heart attacks are preventable. 80%. It makes you think, if it's that preventable, why are so many people still having them? Is it just a lack of awareness about these other factors or what?
That's the million-dollar question.
Oh.
And what's so interesting here is how often we oversimplify this really complex issue of heart disease. Cholesterol definitely has a role, but it's just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. The research we've looked at points to inflammation, oxidative stress, which is basically like cellular rust, and metabolic dysfunction. These are the deeper, often hidden things that can really mess with your cardiovascular health over time.
Yeah. And one thing that really struck me was this idea that our modern love affair with sugar and processed food could actually be doing more damage to our arteries than cholesterol alone. And that's kind of a big deal, right?
It is. And when you connect it to the bigger picture of how our bodies handle energy, it starts to make sense. Too much sugar and all that processed stuff, it sets off this chain reaction of negative effects, triggers inflammation, and can directly damage the lining of our blood vessels. That damage creates a weaker spot where other problems can take root.
Which brings us to something that seems to be a major theme in everything we've been reading, this idea of silent inflammation. Harvard research is all over this, identifying chronic inflammation as the main culprit behind artery damage. So it's not just cholesterol hanging around, it's the constant inflammation in the arteries. That's the real issue.
Exactly. Think of it this way. Cholesterol is like debris floating in a river, but inflammation is this strong current that's constantly eroding the banks. The debris might get stuck, but the real damage comes from the force of the water. And what's really important for people to understand are the things that trigger this chronic inflammation, things we often overlook.
And these triggers are things that could be pretty common in our everyday lives, right? Stress has got to be a big one.
You got it. Chronic stress pumps your body full of hormones that fuel inflammation. Poor sleep is another huge factor. Throws off all these essential processes that keep things in check. Then you've got what some people call toxic seed oils, these highly processed oils like canola, soybean, and corn oil that are in pretty much everything these days. And lastly, the balance of bacteria in your gut microbiome, has a huge impact on inflammation throughout your entire body. When it's out of whack, it sends inflammatory signals everywhere.
Okay, so we're painting a much bigger picture here than just high cholesterol equals heart problems. We're talking about these deeper issues, like chronic inflammation. And it sounds like our diet and lifestyle play a huge role. So if that's the hidden enemy, what are some of the solutions out there, the game changers that people might not be aware of?
Now we're talking about taking charge of your health. One of the key things that came up was the balance of fats in your diet, specifically the ratio between omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids. A typical Western diet tends to be way too high in omega-6s, mainly because of all those inflammatory seed oils we talked about, canola, soybean, corn.
Right, I see those ingredients everywhere. So what's the fix? Just cut them out completely.
That's a great place to start. The research suggests swapping those not-so-good oils with healthier ones. Extra virgin olive oil, grass-fed butter, and coconut oil. They all have different and potentially beneficial effects on inflammation. And just as important is making a conscious effort to eat more foods packed with omega-3 fatty acids, wild-caught fatty fish like salmon, and plant-based sources like flax seeds and walnuts. Omega-3s have those amazing anti-inflammatory powers.
It's about tipping the scales.
Right.
Getting the balance back. What's another one of these often overlooked allies for our heart health? I know you mentioned something about an underrated mineral.
Yep, secret. #2. It's all about magnesium. It's kind of shocking, but the research says something like 80% of people don't get enough. And that can really affect your heart, especially the flexibility of your arteries.
80%. That's a lot of people. Where can we get more magnesium in our diet? Like easy ways to add it in?
Good news. There are some super tasty and easy to find sources. Dark chocolate is one, and I bet people will like that one. Avocados are another great option. And almonds and pumpkin seeds too. Having these regularly can help close that magnesium gap.
Dark chocolate for a healthy heart. Sign me up. Okay, what's the third secret we uncovered? Something about arteries actually being able to repair themselves.
You got it. Secret #3 is all about the power of nitric oxide. It's this important molecule that helps your blood vessels relax and widen, improves blood flow, and can actually help reverse some of that arterial damage. And the best part is there are natural ways to boost it.
So how do we get more of this nitric oxide going? Are there specific things we can eat or do?
The research points to some specific foods: beets, watermelon, and those dark leafy greens. They're all great at bumping up nitric oxide levels. There's also L-arginine and L-citrulline. These are amino acids that can support nitric oxide production and overall heart function. Sometimes people take them as supplements.
This is really cool. I mean, it's like shifting the focus from just trying to lower cholesterol to actively supporting our arteries through what we eat. So empowering. Now, what about those ancient herbal remedies you mentioned in the intro? I'm really curious about that.
This is where it gets super interesting. We're tapping into the wisdom of traditional medicine, backed up by modern science. Let's start with hawthorn berry. It's like this ancient heart tonic. It's been used for centuries in traditional Chinese medicine and Ayurveda to strengthen the heart muscle itself.
Hawthorn berry, I've seen that in some supplements. What exactly does it do?
The research says it can increase blood flow, help lower blood pressure, and even lower the risk of heart failure. It's kind of like a multi-pronged approach. It's not just targeting one thing, it's giving your heart muscle overall support.
Sounds pretty amazing. What's the next gem from nature's medicine cabinet?
Next up is Arjuna bark. Some people call it India's best-kept secret for heart health. It's been used in Ayurvedic medicine forever. And what's really exciting is there's more and more clinical evidence suggesting it can help lower cholesterol. And get this, it might even help heal artery walls.
Heal artery walls naturally. That's pretty powerful.
It is. Some sources even compare it to a natural statin, but potentially without the side effects that some people get with those meds. Of course, it's always important to talk to your doctor about any health concerns.
Totally. This is about exploring potential tools, not replacing medical advice.
Okay, what's the third herbal superstar on our list?
Number 3 is probably one you already know, garlic. But its heart health benefits are so strong that it deserves a spotlight. It's pretty much nature's ultimate blood pressure regulator.
Garlic. I know it's healthy, but how does it help the heart specifically?
The magic ingredient in garlic is allicin. That's what helps lower blood pressure and prevent those blockages in the arteries. The research suggests that eating raw garlic or taking aged garlic extract gives you the most benefit. Raw garlic, well, maybe the aged extract is a bit more socially acceptable. What's number 4 on our herbal hit list?
Number 4 is that bright, beautiful spice, turmeric. It's an anti-inflammatory powerhouse. And as we talked about, inflammation is a huge factor in heart disease.
Turmeric. It seems like it's everywhere these days. We hear so much about its anti-inflammatory properties. How does that work for heart health specifically?
The active compound in turmeric is curcumin, and studies have shown that it can fight against arterial plaque, reduce inflammation throughout the body, and combat oxidative stress, all those things that contribute to heart problems. And here's a pro tip. To really boost its absorption, you got to combine turmeric with black pepper. Piperine in black pepper can increase curcumin absorption by like 2,000%.
Whoa, that's insane. It's so important to know these little tricks to get the most out of these natural remedies. Okay, last but not least, what's the 5th herb that can help us build a stronger heart?
Our 5th and final heart hero is the lovely hibiscus flower. This isn't just for making pretty tea. Research has shown that hibiscus can be surprisingly effective at lowering blood pressure. In some cases, it's even comparable to certain prescription blood pressure meds.
Wow, really? So just having a cup of hibiscus tea every day could be really beneficial for our heart.
That's what the research suggests. Yep. Adding hibiscus tea to your daily routine is a simple but potentially powerful way to naturally support healthy blood pressure.
This is all such incredible information. It's so empowering to know that we have all these natural tools to help protect our heart. So how can we put all this into practice? Like, what would a heart-protecting daily routine look like? Something that's actually doable.
Great question. Let's map out a possible routine. To kick off your morning, try lemon water with some magnesium-rich foods or a supplement. Lemon water gets you hydrated, and magnesium, as we talked about, helps your arteries relax.
That's a pretty easy way to start the day. What about breakfast?
For anti-inflammatory breakfast, think avocados for healthy fats and magnesium walnuts for those omega-3s. And even add some turmeric to your eggs for an anti-inflammatory boost. Don't forget a pinch of black pepper to help your body absorb it.
Yummy and good for the heart. What's next?
Moving your body throughout the day is key. Even short bursts of activity like 10 minutes of walking after meals can make a huge difference in lowering blood sugar and improving circulation.